This is suicide.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
I'm a superhero!
Congratulations on this film. It is everything. I literally Googled, do they wear Crocs in jail after watching it? Fascinating.
They do. They do.
I know. Isn't
Totally
that
real.
crazy? My first question to you is about Harley Quinn. You know, this is the third time we're seeing her. I think this is the coolest we've ever seen her. What did you want to bring to her character this time around, and why?
Well, it's a very interesting question, because I have sort of made my career off of taking superheroes that don't have much to them in the comic books, who have changed a lot, and, don't really have, and then sort of transforming them into a different personality on screen. You see Groot in the first movie, you read Groot in the comic books, and they're nothing alike. Star-Lord was constantly changing his personality for years and years in the comics, and then he became what he is in the movies. And now those things in the comics or in the movies are aligned. I felt that Harley Quinn is one of the greatest written comic book characters of all time. I think she belongs on the wall with, really well-written characters like Batman over the years, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, who sort of have very specific personalities. And that goes back to Paul Dini, who wrote the original Harley for the animated series. And so I just really wanted to embody that fully and give us full chaotic trickster, crazy Harley, 100%, no apologies. And I hope that's what we got. But at the same time, also allowing her to learn some things in her own crazy way. She becomes a better person.
Yeah, we definitely got that. And I love that we got to see like a glamorous side to her. You nailed it. Let's talk about the MCU and DC. You're the only director that's done both. First question in this set is, the Suicide Squad versus Guardians of the Galaxy. Who do you think would win? And the second one is, how did you approach this film, knowing that it was going to be a different world than the MCU, but still keeping your James Gunn voice? Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, listen, to me, in some ways, the Guardians and Suicide Squad feel it, could be at home with each other as much as anything. One's a PG-13 movie, the other one's an R-rated movie. But in both cases, I'm making a James Gunn movie first and a DC or Marvel movie second. Now, that's the way I approach it. And I think that's why, things changed in so many ways after I came on board. But what was it? Oh, who would win in a fight? I don't know. Listen, the Guardians are outer space people with a lot of weaponry, alien tech at their disposal. It's not exactly a fair fight. Polka Dot Man, however, is incredibly powerful and could wipe out the entire Guardians, perhaps by himself. So let's just call it a draw, because I don't know what to do. But I would love to see it on screen anyway.
Speaking of Polka Dot Man, this cast is just like an island of the best misfit toys ever. How did you pick characters in the DC canon? Like, did you just go through the comics? You're like, I'm going to find the wackiest villain in here.
I did. I went through, for instance, Polka Dot Man, I just looked up online, dumbest supervillain ever. And there's a ton of clickbait lists all over the internet, and Polka Dot Man is at the top of all of them. And I said, I got to redeem Polka Dot Man. I got to give, Polka Dot Man his shot at glory, in which I hope that I did. I knew when DC came to me and said, what project do you want? You can do anything you want. I knew that somebody else was going to do a Superman movie. I knew no one was ever going to do a Polka Dot Man movie. So I thought I had my opportunity. But I really just went through the whole DC catalog. They have this incredibly dense and beautiful, trove of costumed oddballs over the past 75 years. And I made copies of all the characters that I thought might be interesting and kind of went through with them and just whittled them away until I got to the characters that I thought would help my story the most.
You are just such a genius. Polka Dot Man is literally my favorite, next to Weasel and Savant. Why did you turn your brother into a weasel? And did you purposely put Michael Rooker in that opening sequence to mess with him?
Well, I definitely put him in the long white wig to mess with him. I love the idea of seeing Rooker as Edgar Winter, who's like the 70s albino rock star. But I just thought he would be funny in the wig. So that's really why he was cast as Savant, which is totally not a very shallow reason, but that's a reason. And my brother can just do things that no one can do. Like, he has a way of moving, a way of acting, like all those sounds that Weasel make. That's my brother making those sounds. Like, he is crazy. So being able to give him this character, who is one of my favorite characters, because he is not at all cute in any traditional sense. He is a mess, and he is no smarter than a greyhound. So I thought that Sean would be perfect to play him.
I wouldn't take such extreme measures if this mission went more important than you could possibly imagine. Are you in or out? Good. Let's meet your team.
Idris, my first question is for you because I feel like Bloodsport is going to be a fan favorite after people see this film. So are you already talking about the next time we're going to see him?
Naz, thank you, first of all, for getting the memo about the color coordination with the hat. I'm loving that. Listen, man, I'm so excited that people are liking the character. We haven't, talked about what comes next, but, the possibilities are infinite. I'm really excited for audiences to lead that process, to kind of tell us what they want to see come next,
Well, I feel like when they leave this movie after learning that Bloodsport put Superman into the ICU, everyone's going to want to see him fight Superman. So do you want to see that?
Yeah. Of course I do. That's a great story. And we'd love to see that happen, see that story be told.
Well, I hope it does. From your lips to God's ears. Daniela, Ratcatcher 2 is such a lovable character. She made me want to call my dad after the film. What was your relationship with rats? Did you train with them? Did you have to work with any real rats, or did you learn anything about them that made them any less creepy?
Actually, they're pretty intelligent. I didn't know that until I got to work with them. I didn't have an opinion about them before starting to work with them. And now I just love rats, and I follow many accounts of people that have rats as pets. And I can show you really quick a photo of me on set with Sebastian.
Wait, was Sebastian a real rat?
Yeah, we had 3 rats on set, and they were rotating all the time, and they were trained to stay on my shoulder and to be behaved.
Wow. Idris, were you scared? Were you freaked out about them in real life?
Yeah, no, definitely yes. Yes. I definitely grew with my character in the sort of trajectory of falling in love with the rats, because Daniela was one of my best friends on set. So I would want to hang out with her on set, but she'd always have this rat. It was an awkward thing between us, but I had to get used to it. But one thing I will tell you is that, she had 3 different rats that would circulate, but they all had the same rat perks. It was ratified.
You had that one saved in your arsenal and you were just waiting to get it out. What was it like working with James Gunn, you guys?
James Gunn was a really good experience from start to finish. I met him in a hotel room, in LA really late at night when he was, telling me what the story was about. And, his passion for that in the casting process was equal to his passion the last time I saw him, which was on a Zoom doing the press. This guy lives, eats, breathes this storytelling and the Suicide Squad, and it was just amazing to watch him do it. And I learned a lot. I want to direct one day. I learned a lot from him.
Wow. What about you, Daniela?
I was blown away by his passion about making movies, by how an amazing human being he is. And yeah, for me, it was a 6-month masterclass that I can't wait to go back to his school and to learn more. He's like a genius for me.
Wow. Everyone's been saying such great things about him. And all the characters are just so incredibly lovable in their own way. Is there a character aside from your own that you guys just nerd out on, or that you nerded out on set?
I loved Ratcatcher 2. Because, she reminds me of my daughter who is 19, who is, very funny and dry humored, and Ratcatcher is a daddy's girl, as my daughter's is. So, yeah,
I love Harley Quinn. I just admire how many energy she has. I wish I could have like that energy every day. And I love King Shark too, because yeah, I feel sorry for him because he didn't have friends.
I know, made me so sad. I love that you were like his friend.
Daniela.
Oh, and Bloodsport also. No, actually, many people have been asking me like if I went on a mission, who would I choose? And if it was just only one person, I'm always saying like Bloodsport because it's obvious.
Hey.
He's my best mate.
We're here to save you.
You were gonna save me?
It was a really good plan, too.
Well, I can go back inside and you can still do it.
That's patronizing.
I'm so sorry. Harley Quinn.
Bloodsport.
Margot, my first question is for you. Third time we're seeing Harley Quinn, you know, and people are loving this exploration of her. What do you think James Gunn brought to her character? And what is it that you wanted to add to her this time around?
I think she's just at a very different place in her life. We're seeing a more independent Harley, independent of Mr. J, that is. She's a little boy crazy. She's definitely single and ready to mingle in this film. And that was very fun because there's a lot of comics where I love watching Harley try and have a dating life. But she's also in work mode. I mean, this movie kicks off with the mission begins. It's not working up to a mission, and it's not, like this movie gets going like 2 minutes in, shit hits the fan, and you're kind of like, wait, I feel like we're breaking all the rules that I normally see in a comic book film. And now I don't know what, like anything could happen. And I think that's an exciting place for the characters to start in. And it's also an exciting place just for the audiences to jump into it.
Yes, I love that. David, I don't know if you're ready for the fandom that Polka Dot Man is about to have, because I've been talking to people and it's going to be insane. I'm definitely going to be Polka Dot Man for Halloween. Coolest prosthetics I've ever seen on film. What was that? You know, can you tell me more about that? And what were you playing to? Were you throwing like colorful discs?
So first of all, I'm so glad you recognize the makeup work that they did. James Gunn is such a genius on so many levels, but one of the things he really insisted on with this film was he wanted it to be visceral, and he wanted it to be tangible, and he wanted the audience to really experience things in a dangerous and exciting way. So he really insisted on practical effects as much as possible. The Legacy Effects team that designed the Polka Dot Man prosthetics blew my mind. I mean, I'm a guy who grew up watching Lon Chaney. I always wanted to be that actor. I wanted to be someone who could, be the Phantom of the Opera, could be the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then when I got to become Abner in Polka Dot Man mode, it was like, I couldn't, it was such a dream. And when we were on set, I guess I used the power of my bizarre, weird imagination to see things, shooting out of me. But one thing that was such a cool touch was when my gauntlets would pop open and I'd get ready to expel the polka dots from my body. They glowed with this really cool, eerie glow that made me feel powerful. I don't play a lot of characters that have moments of power, and it was such an exceptional experience to stand there and feel like I could just do a lot of damage right now. It was really cool.
Wow, both your characters are so specific, but so universal. I relate to them so hardcore. So thank you guys for vulnerably going there, because I definitely felt it. What was it like working with James Gunn, and what was your favorite part about shooting this film? We'll start with you, Margot.
I mean, he's a genius. I've never seen someone execute at such a big level. Like, the scope of this film is insane. I think people don't really appreciate how hard it is to run a set that is that size. And he orchestrates it all beautifully and creates an atmosphere where you feel safe, but you can try things, but everyone's having fun and everyone's joking, and it's mental and it's bonkers, and it's so much of it, he really had a practical approach. So we didn't have to rely on, we weren't looking at tennis balls a lot of the time being like, I guess an explosion, it's like things were blowing up in our faces. It was just incredible. He's such a genius. He's so prepared. He's such a lovely person. It was a dream. And also I love the cast very much, in particular David Dastmalchian.
I gotta say, I've known James personally for years. I think that he's such an exceptional dude and such a genius, and he has such vision. And but it's an odd thing when you're friends with people, at least with James and I, we never talked about work. We talked about comic books, we talked about movies, we talked about things that we liked. We definitely never talked about work. And I guess I didn't know in what way creatively that our paths would cross until one day, randomly, he invites me to be in his film. I mean, I'd acted in a film he'd written in the past, but I'd never actually, I don't know. I always would in the back of my head go, gosh, it would be so cool if James ever wanted to direct me in something. So when I showed up to set, I didn't know how the dynamic was going to work with somebody that I already knew so well. And it was a dream. And I had a couple of, I've been so blessed as an actor to work with directors whom I can trust and who can really help me guide my way through some tricky moments. And I had a couple of them on this film, and James really did everything that I dreamed that a director would do. And it was just a beautiful experience. And I'm Margot Robbie's biggest fan. So being in a film with her, ever since her film Tarzan, I've got to say, I've just been gaga for her. I've got a little shrine in the back of my closet with some candles. And don't tell her. She's not on the Zoom right now, is she? Is she on our Zoom? Oh, shoot.
That's so weird. I have a Margot Robbie shrine too. I love her.
Oh, who doesn't, dude?
Tell anyone, guys. I won't.
Who doesn't?
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough without covering your mouth.
Harley, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.
Joel, it is so nice to have you solo today. So honored. Just kidding, John.
No, don't worry about it. I never get tired of that. Joel, the joke is I'm actually a real superhero in real life. I've actually crafted the power to be invisible.
Yeah.
So like, yo, I know she's doing an interview with John Cena, but like, why is she talking to nobody? It's actually very well played. That's very well played.
Well done.
How to do you can't see John Cena joke. Love it. I'm so excited to talk to you guys. Joel,
You can't see his bulge though if you watch the movie. It's
my eyes are up here, bro.
Joel, first question is for you. You know, your character's coming back from the first film. So what did you want to bring to your character that we didn't see in the first film to this one?
Well, I mean, I love the version of the character that James wrote. So when I sat down with James, one of our first real creative conversations, I told him that I didn't really feel like I wanted to be artistically bound by what I did in the first film. I wanted to just let the character be what it is in this, universe. And I had a lot more fun with it this time around. I felt like I got looser, and the character was a little more idealistic, less cynical, was a little bit more engaged with the other characters. So I like this version.
Yeah, I like this version too. I'm excited for everyone to see it. And everyone obviously to meet Peacemaker. It's going to be such a hit, John. It's obviously so nice to see you. I'm so excited that Peacemaker is getting a spin-off show. How do you want to see your character evolve in that spin-off show when we get to see it in January?
Well, first off, I would love people to be entertained by the Suicide Squad. And I think that's step one. James Gunn has crafted an insanely wonderful ride, and I hope everybody agrees. And that will mean they want to see more. And James came back for the episodic on HBO Max. So we got 8 more episodes of a dive into some of the nuances of Peacemaker, which is a very dark, horrible place that it's tough to go to sometimes. Oh. No, I'm kidding. I just,
I was like, whoa, I did not expect that.
No. It was fun. It was fun. I think the difference between film and episodic is you can lean in more and you have more time to tell the story. And especially with this film with a cast of 25 main characters, there's a lot. The film doesn't stop. I mean, if you ask Joel, we spent so much time ad-libbing and doing outtakes. You think you give all this material and like, man, maybe some of that stuff is going to make not one outtake made the movie. The script is the movie. And I think there's a little bit more freedom to do that when you lean into longer episodes.
Right. Well, hopefully we get another cut of this one then with all the ad libs and stuff. But for both of you, what was it like working with James Gunn, and what was your favorite part of shooting?
Favorite part of shooting? I mean, I love working with James. It's kind of remarkable being on set with a guy that just he's gotten all the toys from the studio. Everyone has so much trust in James because he's proven himself so many times. And he's also written the script. And it's so clear when you read the script that vision is crystal clear. It's super tight. It's exactly what everyone wants it to be. And then you're on set and you see that, you know, with all that power, because, you know, when someone has that much control, they have a lot of power. What does he do with it? He creates a very playful and warm environment where everyone feels free to experiment and take risks and to joke around. And you know, John was talking about that, you know, there was a lot of outtakes, a lot of ad-libbing that didn't make it into the film. But at the same time, it creates an atmosphere. It creates a sense of freedom and a sense of risk-taking that really seeps into the film. And I think that you, like the fun that we had on set doing those outtakes and that ad lib, even though only the lines made it into the film, you can tell how much fun we had saying the actual lines because of that.
Right. John, what about you? What was it like for you working with James?
James is spectacular, really is. I can't say enough great things about him. And so personally, he does everything extremely well. Personally, he creates an environment for performers to feel comfortable. So he's a great coach in that regard. Professionally, he knows everything about everything. And I'm talking like, hey, this is the song that's going to play, and it's only going to play from 1 minute and 19 seconds to 1 minute and 43 seconds. Can I get that audio right now? And like, he's that meticulous about everything. He really is. He's a gifted writer, a gifted filmmaker, and he manages and curates personalities well. Like it shows. I whatever, he could just call me up. He's on a very short list of people who could be like, and this happened with Peacemaker. Hey man, and I was like, yes. He didn't get the idea out of his mouth. And I've already told him if he ever needs me to just walk across the screen and wave, like he's an absolute treat and a pleasure to work with.
And all the characters that are in this movie are just so insane and wildly lovable. Is there any character in this film that you guys nerd out on that isn't your own, John?
I love Polka Dot Man. I really do. I just have a thing, and I think David was awesome as Polka Dot Man. And I really do love his journey, and I think people are going to enjoy it.
Double D. I also, I love, you know, Sylvester Stallone brings so much of like on the page. When I read King Shark, you know, the first time, you know, it's such a funny character, and I think that was the biggest treat watching the film, because I mean, we had Steve Agee that also plays Economist, and you know, and he was great at doing all like the sort of physical comedy of King Shark, but still he's there in a very humiliating, you know, gray tidies and this weird like shark head contraption that he's like lugging around. And you know, we had a lot of laughs around King Shark on set, but that was the biggest treat watching the finished film, because that character really didn't come alive until, you know, the animation, and then when Sly put his genius touch to it, it was really good.
I love your accent.
American women all love accents.
I'm so jealous the three of you got paid to do this, because it just looked like an absolute blast. All your character, it's like an island of the perfect misfit toys. Is there a character that you guys nerd out on that isn't your own? Starting with you, Nathan.
That I nerd out on that isn't my own. I was really surprised at how much I nerded out on Polka Dot Man. That is an unassuming character that it's like when they invented that guy, they just weren't trying that hard. But I was really, really surprised.
I just want to echo that. Honestly, I would say the same thing. I know that's not the most interesting response since Nathan set it up, but I really did. When I saw the movie, I couldn't believe how much I connected with him, and that's testament to that wonderful character that David created and put on screen. And so, yeah, I don't know. He's beautiful. It's kind of amazing to have someone this tragic figure at the center of this thing, and who kind of blossoms so freely. And I don't know, I loved it. I thought that was a stroke of genius from James to pull him in and have that whole element with his mother and stuff. It was an awesome addition.
I would tell you, because we're now at the bar and they have both ordered a whiskey bourbon, so I'm not ordering that. My answer will be Weasel, because when you think about Weasel, you're like, surely he's still underneath all of this weaselness, highly intelligent, and probably has a wardrobe he could wear at any moment and can contribute to a conversation. But no, the answer is he's really stupid. He's just a weasel. He possibly eats babies.
Weasel is absolutely iconic, as was the beach sequence. Obviously, don't want to give too much away. What was it like shooting that beach sequence with just having like every character there? Would love to like go right back around.
It's very wet. We're in that water for real. It's real water. It's a real beach. In a place that where there shouldn't have been one. But they created it, and real waves. It was kind of epic to see what they did for us in that department, and for the audience. I think it needed to feel as kind of authentic as possible, and to the fact that they built that jungle and had us, approaching that shoreline on a backlot in Atlanta was kind of incredible. It kind of blew our minds, and I think it really adds to that whole kind of set piece. Probably a lot of urination happening in costumes in the water. Where you're in there for hours at a time. There's stunt people out there that have been there like for 7 hours. I remember saying to one person, like, how much piss do you think is in that pool? And, it's you have to look around because like people aren't going off 10-1. We're all just seemed comfortable to kind of ride it out.
Yeah. Well, Jai, you asked me that question. You asked me that question. Then I said, wait 10 seconds. And I said, 10 milliliters more than 10 seconds ago.
That's true.
What was it like for you guys working with James Gunn? I would love to hear from all three of you. Like, what was it like working with James Gunn on this, Nathan?
Just like old times. I've been saying this a couple times today. I've had the opportunity to say this a couple times. The one through line through it all, the one consistent thing is James. I think what's changing is the amount of people who know and learn that we can trust him.
It was amazing. I mean, it's kind of an obvious response at this point, but he just executes with such kind of humility and control. And a sense of humor. I mean, it's amazing to me that he's able to achieve what I think is kind of a masterpiece, and yet let everyone have such a good time making it, and always feel like there's more room to play. He gets what he needs, but I don't know. There wasn't an urgency to it. There wasn't anything that just didn't feel like absolute playtime. And that's what I love about being an actor. And so when you get a director at the helm who can inspire that in everyone on the set, it makes it a really special experience.
James Gunn is like a man making a delicious lasagna. He has all the ingredients. He's selected those. So if you're that floppy pasta, then just be the most floppy pasta in the world, because that's why you were hired. In this case, I was the ricotta cheese.
All right. Let's get it.
It is so good, so funny. I could talk about it for hours. My first question is for you, Mei Ling. It's about the beach sequence. I know we can't spoil. I don't want to spoil anything. Don't want to give too much away. But how wild was it shooting that beach sequence with like every character?
I thought I was dreaming. I thought someone was gonna pinch me and I was gonna wake up. It was pretty. I think I said to Nathan a few nights on a trap, "Can we get paid for this? Really, we get paid for this? This is a ball. This is so fun." It was just a once in a lifetime opportunity. Getting directed by James Gunn, working with these great people, being in temperature controlled water. I get to run up things and jump off things. It was fabulous.
So good. Elise, what you mentioned James Gunn, Mei Ling. So Elise, what was it like working with James Gunn, and what was your favorite part about this whole shoot?
It was just so special. I mean, I was a huge fan of his before even getting the chance to work with him, but he's such a visionary director and so passionate for what he does and how he develops a project. For this one specifically, you could see how dedicated and excited he was. And because I think these directors, they're also comic fans and they love genre and stuff like that. They really dig deep when they're directing projects like this. And I think the fans are going to be blown away by what he brought. And I think that's why it's so exciting to see you like saying how much you enjoyed, how much you liked, because that's James' heart. I mean, it was so much fun to be on set because of his energy, because of who he is, how inspiring it is. But it's all of it. It's James being really passionate about every single detail. And that pays off when you see the fans getting their mind blown away by how amazing it is.
And what was your favorite part to film?
Me, I think it was just being on set, like Mei-Ling was saying, with these actors. I think it's so much fun when there is these scenes that you're just laughing and the characters are so sharp, and you bring the comedy, you bring the action. I think all of that, it's so exciting. I think I love when my character meets them. It's just, I laugh a lot on set. I hope people do laugh when they see the film, because it was really funny.
They will, and you're so good. And I know, you're Brazilian, but your Spanish accent is so good. Mei-Ling, same question for you. What was your favorite part about filming, and what was it like working with James Gunn for you?
I mean, I'm a big fan of his work, especially the Guardians. So I was really stoked to be doing Mong Dao for the first time. I think it's the first live representation of like Mong Dao. And so for me to bring her, I really didn't want to disappoint James. So I'd ask a lot of questions of like, how do you see her doing this and this? And now he was great. And James knows exactly what he wants, and he knows this universe better than anyone. So it was just, I learned from him. It was also very giving, and he let people run wild. I think he'll get a scene that he liked, and then he'll let people just run wild and say, let's just have fun. Let's just go and do this. And that was hysterical. It was one of the most fun sets I've ever been on.
It seems like he gives, his actors a lot of freedom to sort of do what they want. And I think that's why stuff comes out so good. I mean, these characters are so colorful. Do you guys have a favorite character other than your own that you like nerd out on? Because there's so many good ones.
Oh my God, it's so funny. We've been laughing like since we started the morning, because I'm obsessed about Polka Dot Man. I just love that character. I mean, Nat, I'm definitely going to be Polka Dot Man on this Halloween. I need to figure out how I'm going to do that, because it's really, I hope they bring out this clothes, because I'm obsessed about that character. I love it.
What about you?
For me, it's King Shark. He's like, I like my men. Yeah. He's tall, he's big, he doesn't say much, he's hairless, eats protein with me. It's fabulous.
That's amazing. Did you guys have to do any special training for this particular film? Because I feel like both of your characters are very physical.
I mean, I did some work for the wires and stuff with the stunt team. But I was already doing, I already train anyway and like do physique. I competed before and stuff. So I was already lifting, but I just lifted a lot more heavier because I knew that Mong Dao was a lot stronger. So, and I needed to maintain that on a set time. So that was the only thing that I did was just to build more muscle and manipulate my calories and macros when I got there.
Your mission is to destroy every trace of something known only as Project Starfish. Any questions?
I walked out of the film and I was like, wow, a lot of that movie was in Spanish. Did you guys talk to James Gunn about that? Did you know about that? And what was it like working with him? We'll start with you, Joaquin.
Speaking Spanish, working in Spanish is a good point, a very good point. It was a very good idea from James Gunn, because the feeling of the movie is really, really nice, really real, And to work with James was a big adventure, All the movie is a big adventure for us, and do it in Panama, in the real forest and in the ocean. Oh, wow. It was a big adventure.
Yeah, working with James was amazing. I mean, he's very kind. He's very passionate, and he's a lot of fun. He creates an amazing vibe on set. Like every day feels like a party, for real. And you're part of something. Makes you feel like you're part of something special. And then he's very generous and very kind, and you feel like he's treating you. He makes you feel like, oh, I'm part of a family or something. It was great.
It's funny you said family and party, because I feel like that is how you feel when you're watching the Suicide Squad, that this is just like an awesome, insane ride that you never want to get off. The characters are so insane. They're so lovable. Is there a character other than your own that you guys were nerding out on that you just like really, really loved?
I mean, me personally, I love Harley Quinn. I mean, she's the sum of everything. She's totally crazy. But then nice, but then generous, but tender, but aggressive. Like she's the mix, the perfect cocktail of all of this crazy characters. I would say she's my favorite. Yeah.
I love the King Shark. It's amazing when he moves here, his arms, and when he speaks. It's amazing for me.
What was it like being around filming King Shark? Was Sylvester Stallone on set?
The actor is really tall, you know, and it was a beautiful, because you're really talking with a big shark, a real big shark. All the movie was really funny.
It's so funny. Going back to, because you mentioned Harley Quinn, Juan, you guys have you and Margot Robbie have such awesome chemistry and such amazing scenes together. What was it like working with Margot Robbie?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, just watching her playing Harley Quinn and getting in and out of the character. And I mean, this is a character that she's played many times and she knows so well. And it was beautiful to watch how she can, you know, get into the depths of the character and then, you know, playing she has a scene and it feels like she's moved and then she goes crazy again. It was just being there, watching her playing that part. It was a lot of fun. And then she's very generous and very kind as an actress. So I had a great time.
I want to get you out of real life.
I'm going to get you out of here alive.